gentlemen, here we go with game number 1 between Catz from Team Complexity and Fnatic MSI Skit. That is not EP Paramedica, although I'm sure Clan EP would have loved that. You know, actually we have the Clan EP leader over here in our NASL studio, but he's not doing it. Instead, it's going to be Fnatic MSI Skit, and he played okay throughout the NASL semi-open. Catz has been really, really surprising. I mean, he defeated Darkcell, and then he defeated Pajero, but I really want to say, beating Darkcell.
Yeah, I was so surprised at that.
Yeah, that's
quite the upset. And at the same time, Skit, he beat Tendongho before this match in the previous round. And that's something that really surprises me as well.
That guy's good.
He is, man. He's got some great builds.
Yeah.
So both these players have, come up against, their adversity or whatever in this tournament, and have made it to this round so far, already in the round of 8. So very impressive, and we should have a pretty high level TVZ here, of course, on cross positions. Now, what's critical about this map, Andre, is that the natural is really, really wide open, so it's going to be pretty hard to defend, but we are in cross positions, so it's a little bit harder to maybe make up for that by going for some one-base aggression. So both these players are just going to have to be extremely careful with their builds to make sure that that natural is very well defended.
Yeah, I think it'll be very important for Terran, even though it'll be hard to wall off. Wall off this huge portion as we get into mid-game as well. But, that's going to take a lot of time. As you said, you have to make sure that you can just solidify this position. So I think we will stay on this one base for a little bit longer than normal. We do see that they're exchanging a little bit of talk here. Catz being a little bit BM, yeah. But, of course, I'm pretty sure he's just kidding. Yeah,
of course. Always a joking around guy. Now, I mean, that wall-off you're talking about, I do not think we'll be able to see that happen. There's just so much space, and not just the space you're highlighting there, but there's also a ramp. There's 2 entrances into the natural.
Yeah, well, that's why you wall off that area to make it like one directional, and then you can take your third, so it's a little bit more, well, it's a little bit easier to just manage.
Man, that's third. I don't know, man. That's pretty hard to take, dude. Look at that. There's like 3 different entrances. It's really, really wide open. It's even harder than the third on Zanaga Caverns to take, man. So, we could see some really heavy 2-base aggression on this map.
Yeah, it's very possible. We can see Skit is going. Oh, look at that. Catz actually takes the gas, but Skit is going for a refinery and probably going to expect some sort of factory tech and reactored Hellions. That's obviously the most standard TVZ build.
Yep. Yeah, and there it is. Factory's on the way. We're going to see that reactor go down immediately as he gets that 50 gas. Now, it was interesting. We saw him try to block that extractor with that SCV, but I think you need it either on like the top right corner or the bottom left rather than top left or bottom right. So, unfortunately, he was unable to do that. So, we'll just give Catz just a little bit more scouting information. You can keep this drone alive as an extractor, see what's going on in Paramedico's, Skit's base. Making that mistake. Unfortunately, we won't be able to get too much information, but he at least sees that there's just these 2 Marines, and actually 2 Marines can't really kill this off. You generally need a third one or maybe an SCV on there. So you will actually be able to rebuild this extractor pretty often, and oh my gosh, that command center is actually dangerously close. I don't think you'll be able to see it, but if you move that drone over to the right after canceling the extractor, you might actually be able to see that, so it's a little bit risky for that placement for Skit.
Yeah, but I think it will get off. I mean, here we can see the drone finally gets cleaned up, and the extractor gets canceled, so good job on Catz's part, not losing that 13 minerals or whatever it is, that 15, whatever. But we can go back to Catz's base. He has thrown down a spine crawler now. He's looking to just play absolutely standard. He's still mining. Oh, okay. He hasn't got metabolic boost, so this is a little bit of a delayed metabolic boost. Not a big deal. He will have Zerglings on the top of this ramp. But the big question is where he goes from here. I would assume he goes for Mutas. I would like 2-base Muta play from him.
Yeah, I mean, on this map, there is a lot of space behind the expansions. Ooh, I'm actually watching Catz waiting for that larva inject, man. Ooh, he's actually been about, there we go, at the natural, got that up. He's actually been in like 30 seconds without larva injecting at the main, so does need to be a little bit more careful about that. Unfortunately, he is microing against those Hellions right now with the natural, but he has the extra queen as well, so he can get some nice creep spread up, and most of those Hellions do a great job of denying that. But of course, on a really wide open map like this should be able to deny the third base as well from Catz very heavily. So, 2-base Muta could be a good choice, but, with the really wide open center, I feel like there aren't enough cliffs you can really abuse if the Terran comes forward with a big Marine tank attack to be able to, pick pick off straight tanks, pick off medevacs. So it would just be a little bit harder to engage.
One thing, though, I think why 2-base Muta would be probably exceptionally better is because the third is hard to take, and of course Zerg want that third so bad. So get out those Mutas, make your opponent play a little bit more defensive, then take your third. A lot of times that's how they get their third, rather than just taking out on the open and being susceptible to a lot of different things. For now, ooh, look at this. Marauders coming out. Yep. What do you think we're going to be seeing from Skit?
Well, I mean, Marauder Hellion is a very good composition that's been tried and true time and time again. I love that he's leaving the Marauders on the upper ground as well in case any Zerglings come. They'll only see Hellions and Marines. So this can, of course, catch Catz off guard because this type of a build, you know, the Hellions counter these Zerglings or the possibility of Banelings, whereas the Marauders can kill off those Spine Crawlers so easily, as well as tank damage for those Banelings, or if your opponent goes for Roaches, they can help out with that as well. Sure. But you know what? He's only done with one Rax. This isn't like a... This isn't like some big, huge attack. He's just moving out with, it looks like 3 Marauders and, of course, quite a few Hellions and some Marines. So I don't think he'll do all that much damage. But then again, I'm actually looking at Catz's base, and he is rushing, it looks like, to Muta with quad gas in that lair. And he actually did not make many units at all. He only has a couple Zerglings, so he might be in some trouble here with only one Spine Crawler.
He has no units out. 47 Harvesters to 28.
Wow, that's
that
what you call droning,
very, very big advantage for Catz in terms of the amount of workers. But here we go. The Marauders are approaching here, and there are 28 Zerglings underway, but that's a lot of Hellions out there on the field. That might be too much. Here we go, starting up on that one Spine Crawler. The Zerglings are going to try to swing around from the side, but the Hellions are just doing so much damage. Is it going to be enough? The Marauders do get cleaned up, and that will give a little bit more stability to Catz. Now he can finally defend against this pretty accurately.
Yeah, great job with those additional queens, and of course it was just a bit of a misstep there by Skit. He did not pull a lot of those front units back, so he lost all of the Marauders. Now granted, you kind of do want the Marauders to be tanking the damage with the Hellions in back doing the damage, but he kept them quickly in range of that Spine Crawler. You need to move out of that range, take as little damage as possible, continue to kite. I mean, that is one of the strengths of Terran, of course, and without doing that, he did lose all the Marauders, lost all the ability to attack, and that's going to give Catz a pretty good situation to mass up on Muta on 2 base, since he didn't really take any economic damage there. Yeah. You know, really well defended when it looked like he had no units. Got those Zerglings up just in time.
You know, with that advantage, the income advantage, he's been able to tech up very, very fast, and on top of that, he has the Macro Hatch down. The Macro Hatch just gives him so much more larva to work with. He can get mass Zerglings and mass Mutas at the same time, and that's you know, composition you don't normally have because you're larva starved in this early game stage.
And he does have that the 9 Mutas on the way. No +1 just yet. He does have the gas for it, so I would hope to see that from the Spire pretty soon, whether it is +1 armor or attack. But meanwhile, it looks like Skit is just going up to a pretty standard, you know, infantry-based build. He does have the eBay. Unfortunately, no upgrades on the way just yet, but he will be able to make turrets if he realizes what's coming to him. He's going to put that starport on the reactor so he can pump out those medevacs as quickly as possible, but critically, he also has the tech lab on the factory, so we'll be mixing in those tanks pretty soon here, and maybe be able to make some Thors later on, but the first turrets are just now on the way. They should be in time as the Mutas are just now on the way to his base, but will they be enough?
Yeah, the Mutas are going to do a lot of work, and, you know, at least keep Skit in for a very, very long time. But the third of Catz still is not up. That's very peculiar. You normally get your third up ASAP. There it finally goes down in the mid-right-hand position.
Ooh, Andy just threw away about 20 Zerglings into all those Hellions on the bottom right. Unfortunately, doing no damage. That is a big blow to not have those Zerglings ready to go. If you do see like a Marine tank attack coming towards you, you're going to need them ready, especially so you can start morphing in some Banelings. So, and unfortunately, the Mutas have not done any damage. They went in, the Marines were in position, very well defended by Skit. Both these players are, you know, trying to put on pressure, but both of them are just so good at defending that neither one has really been able to put on any damage to their opponent.
And the Muta's going directly over to these Hellions. The Hellions are in a lot of trouble here. They can be killed very fast, and here we go. It looks like just one Hellion dies to this. The Marines are coming up from behind, and they're going to have a big stim. There are 2 medevacs over there to heal them up very nicely.
Great reaction times by Catz there, man.
Very nice.
Didn't take almost any damage on those Mutas. Really well done. Now he's going for a small Zerg counterattack at the natural. He might actually be able to pick off some of these mules and SCVs because Skit is not paying attention. There we go. He sends the Marines in, so not taking too many losses, but he did lose both of those mules.
Yeah, that is pretty critical. I mean, that's right there. Maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 Marines. Oh, forces the cancel on this third. Skit did a really nice job at gunning that expansion down. Now he can just back up. I think if he can retain this army, you know, he will be in a good position. It's Catz's job right now to punish his opponent for getting out in such a far area.
Exactly. What you need to be doing with these Mutas is containing your opponent, and essentially that's what he failed to do, allowing the Marines and Hellions to come right at him and deny that third base. Now, he does have another one up at the 12 o'clock that he's just starting now, but he needs to be more active with the Mutas. He needs to send them around like behind the natural, try to kill off that turret, go into the main, pick off some of the production. There are many places in Skit's base that are not all that well defended, so he could be be poking in, but instead he's just kind of checking around, trying to hold that map control and prevent any attacks from coming forward. But he really needs to put on that pressure to keep Skit contained while he double expands
and
here.
Orb, you perfectly called it. If he kept those 20 Zerglings alive in the beginning, I think he would have shut that attack down. All because of those 20 Zerglings dying. All of a sudden, the third is delayed completely. Catz knows this. He's going to double expand. He has 2 bases coming up at the same time, but here comes the Mutas. They're focusing down this one refinery. Does go down. He's just going to get away.
Yeah, that's pretty nice. That will lower, of course, the tank count, the medevac count. Unfortunately, though, the #1 concern with this type of an army is the marine count, and he does have +1 and siege about to complete, so this is fantastic timing from Skit. He's going to be able to come up here, siege up those tanks, have +1 ready to go on those marines, and he'll be very, very difficult to stop. Now, Catz does have some banelings ready to go. Does he have baneling speed? No, it's not quite done yet, man. 2/3 of the way done, so it's going to be a little bit difficult for Catz to engage here, but he does have good creep strength.
Catz wants to stall as much as possible, but, you know, these Marines are approaching so fast, taking out every single creep tumor. Will he be ready? His third has a lot of spine crawls. Here's a counter coming in with Zerglings, and the supply depots are actually lowered, but the Zerglings are actually letting the Marines just attack freely, and this will buy Catz a little bit of time as Skit goes across to the right-hand position and tries to deny that 4th base.
Andre, I don't know how many times we're going to see a full wall-offs with supply depots let down while a counterattack comes. It's so often, but here come the Mutas as well, and the entire army of Skit's out of position. He does have some Marines in here, but will they be enough? The Mutas are actually just engaging right into them while the Marines siege up the 3rd base, of course, that Catz has, and he's killed off every single Marine in the main. A tank's going to come out and be picked off immediately as well. This is a tough situation for Skit to come back from.
Yeah, and with not a lot of turrets around the base, this is going to be punished so hard. Skit really needed turrets all around here, but he was just trying to be so efficient with this one push. Now focusing down the reactors, that's a more important thing. You want to take out every single one of these reactors and then just get home because you killed half the production of your opponent.
Yeah, it can be an absolutely fantastic move to do. Now, we did see that Skit took out the 3rd base, but he didn't realize that Catz also has the 3rd base up at the 12 o'clock. I do not believe he has seen that. No, he has not scouted that out, so he's actually just sending his entire army home to defend, when it would actually be a great idea to continue trying to engage into Catz. But you know what? At the same time, it's good to be cautious. Make sure you don't lose this army. Oh my god, he's in the middle of the map. Zerglings and Banelings coming in as well as the Mutas from the side. The Banelings are going to roll in. The tank is sieging up. Will they be able to get the connection onto these Marines? They do get some pretty good connections. Will it be enough, though? It looks like too many Marines have survived, and Catz is going to be forced back.
But Catz did get the last Baneling splatter across all of those Marines. Let's go ahead and look at the units lost tab. It looks like Catz did get the worser end of that stick right now, behind in 1,600 resources, I should say. And, you know, overall, I feel like it's a tough situation to call who has the advantage, because Skit, he is right now only on 2 base, whereas Catz, of course, is on 3, so he's having a much more productive you know, macro than his opponent.
Right, I love that Skit continues to try to put on the pressure. He's still moving out with that army while he's trying to defend at the main. Unfortunately, a lot of these Marines are dying. Catz doing a great job doing some damage, picking off some supply depots that will open him up to counterattacks as well, since he won't have the wall off. Catz is doing a lot of damage, but here the attack from Skit is moving forward. He's already sieging up that expansion. Nice spine crawlers from Catz. Remember that while they will be killed by the siege tank. Oh my god, he's not defending the siege tank against the queen? Oh no, okay, that queen's going to get killed off. But you know, those spine crawlers, they're critical. A lot of players would look at that and be like, well, why do you need them? The tank's going to pick them off. Oh my god, he's picking off tanks in the middle of the map.
That is such a big advantage for Catz. And now what he's doing with his Mutas is just coming in between, stopping any reinforcements coming. You can see Zerglings and Banelings. He might actually just go for a straight-up counterattack, but that would be very folly, as there's a lot of units back here that would just crush Catz if he went to attack.
Absolutely. But you know, those spine crawlers did buy Catz enough time. That's the critical part about them. They might be able to be picked off by tanks, but they give him time to build up enough units to deal with this attack before the Marines and Marauders start trying to kill off the hatchery. So he's kept them all alive. He's kept all the drones alive as well. And look at this. The entire army's going to be killed off, as well as the medevacs.
And these medevacs, those are the key things. You want to keep the medevacs. Zerglings additionally coming in here. Will it be enough? No, it will not. The Mutas did not continue
that was
to engage.
Weird, man.
Kind of, well, very
Yeah, probably should have engaged with the Mutas while he was engaging with those Zerglings. Especially could have picked off that straight tank and the rest of those medevacs.
Catz, I mean, I don't know why he's going off to this position with these Mutas. I think this is a blunder. He's not able to see that there's another reinforcing wave of units coming in from Skit, and now the counterattack again has started working up on some siege tanks here, working up on the reactor on the 1 starport. It looks like he's engaging on the Marines, but in the meantime, he's losing his third. And this could be disastrous.
Yeah, he is going to lose it. Zergling's invading the stream, and he did just complete 1-1, and he's going to connect on almost all of these Marines with the creep spread. Oh, nice lift by Skit, but it might not be enough as there are still these 4 tanks left over at the same time, though the mutas are doing an insane amount of damage in Skit's base.
Oh, man, he has no way to deal with these mutas. And look at this. Skit actually has, like, full energy on all of his command centers.
Oh, that's not good.
That's a big problem. You know, he could use that. He even has really, you know, high mineral counts and high gas counts. He could have used that to get Thors. Thors would be a great response to all these mutas bunched up like this. But now, all of a sudden, he's facing elimination in this first game.
Oh, and Skit goes for a critical error, moves up onto the ramp in range of that spine crawler, and sieges up, and there's the GG. It looks like Catz has taken game number 1.
Wow, what an exciting game 1. I have to say, Catz played that really nicely. He faltered in the beginning, lost those 20 Zerglings, and because of that, he paid the price, lost that 3rd base. But all of a sudden, you know, he just bounced back with that 3rd and 4th. I think he was looking really good after that first initial fail. Too many Hellions at the beginning stage.
Yeah, I think the #1 mistake, though, from Skit was not building enough turrets, man. Yeah. Literally all game long, he had 2 turrets total. That is it. Yeah, take a look at that. He had 1 turret in the main, in the mineral line, and 1 turret in the natural in the mineral line. Now, that might be acceptable if you know for a fact your opponent is maybe going for like 8 mutas just to deny drops, and they're going mass Zergling Baneling or a Roach or something. But no, Catz was clearly going for that mass muta style, and he saw that time and time again in the middle of the map with those Hellions, etc. And what do we usually see most players do in this situation? They will drop 2 turrets in each mineral line at least, and 2 turrets at their production. We didn't see that from Skit, and as a result, he could not defend when the mutas went for the counterattack.
Exactly. It gives too much power to the mutas. Yeah. It gives too much power to say, hey, if I counterattack you with my mutas, I'm forcing you to attack in right now.
Right.
And it might be favorable, it might be not favorable. That's the biggest problem. You give the initiative to the Zerg. So we'll go into game 2 and see if Skit can come back to this. Join us. We'll be back with Catz and Skit.